just like
Yeah.
so creepy. That's why we have very creepy turnips. Cecilia wanted very creepy turnips, so we have very creepy turnips that I crocheted. But like, it's crazy. I don't relish people looking it up because it's quite creepy. Hang on, I'll see if I can find it.
Everything in the Victorian era was creepy. Though.
I'm telling you, that's the lantern that Susan has.
Ah,
Oh, that is creepy.
So creepy, right?
It looks like a mummy.
Yeah.
it does. It looks like a real.
Yeah. Mummified.
Like,
I
yeah.
was going to print some of these pictures,
So creepy.
but I didn't have time this morning.
They're really into the ghoulish.
There you go. Victorian Halloween costume.
Oh.
Mhm.
Even their greeting cards were a little strange.
There you go. That
Must
is
be that
loosely
Druid
what James Jr. is based
influence.
off of.
Oh.
Very, very creepy things.
We were watching
Well, Halloween is
Lucy
supposed to be
Walsley
creepy,
video on
creepy.
Jack the Ripper in London.
Did you want to be here for the event?
Murdered there.
It is a solid event.
It's a
We are actually about to
street
get started on the next tour
west
of the
side,
museum. It's a special
getting
tour of the
characters
museum.
to take
And we
tours.
feed you.
The Jack It's like-
So, welcome to the Irish American Museum. We have Irish food over here. We are celebrating Samhain. Samhain is the fall harvest.
Yeah. So I promise I will give you time to get food after the tour. We're like literally on the street tour. We got here at the right time. It smells like so. Outside.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Okay, maybe I will get you change. Just remind me I owe you Just remind me I owe you $5 to give it to you because I'm not finding it. Alrighty. Okay, so welcome. We're about to start the tour. So, are you good with your lantern? We're good. Okay. I'm like, are you at a good stopping point? I don't want to don't want to disrupt creativity. Okay. Just for our people who just joined us after the tour, feel free to grab some of the treats we have here. We have warm or cold cider, shepherd's pie, wake cake, barn brack or baron brack, and soul cakes. And at the end of the table are some little Halloween fruit snacks as our little trick-or-treating gift, because originally they handed out fruits, nuts, and
What?
biscuits. Sorry. Fruit snacks and biscuits for trick-or-treaters. So feel free to grab food after the event. At the end down there, we have turnip painting and or carving. Turnips are the original jack-o'-lanterns, which you will learn about on our tour here just shortly. So feel free to do that after the tour. We are going to get started. My name is Sammy. I am the director here at the Irish American Museum. Thank you all for coming to our first Samhain by itself event. We normally pair this with our wake event. This year the wake is in November, so I was like, no, we got to do a Samhain event. So you will see what I mean when we go next door about the wake. But as a welcome, Balchagoji an Iha Ahanig Tishi Awalia. That is welcome to the Nights the Ghost Came Home in Irish. If I ever say anything in Irish, I will be sure to translate it. We do Irish language classes through the museum here as a way to preserve the language. It is a dying language, and that is part because when the Irish immigrated to America, they were actually forced to lose their language. By 1880, we have a 50% drop in native speakers. So we are trying to revitalize that and bring it back. Ireland did just put it back in schools, so small win. But welcome to the Night the Ghost Came Home. We are about to go on a very special tour. So a lot of people do not realize Halloween as we know it, All Hallows Eve, actually came to America thanks to the Irish and Scottish immigrants. Prior to them coming to America, they did not celebrate that holiday in this country. Technically, the country didn't exist, but outside of Scotland and Ireland, that is not a widely celebrated holiday because the Irish and Scottish disseminated. It is now a worldwide holiday, and it is not what you think Halloween is. Traditional Halloween, or Samhain, which is the Celtic New Year. So happy New Year, everybody. It's 3 weeks early. October 31st will be the new year. But Happy New Year. It is the Celtic New Year. It's also the end of Harvest Festival. So we will be talking about all of those things and how we get from what it was to what we now have as Halloween. So if you follow me, we are going to meet our first ghostly guest. So
Up and away. Turnips, the original jack-o'-lanterns. Woohoo.
yes, please watch your head. The ceiling is very. Hey Sharon, can you stay by the light switch for me?
Yep.
I promise you it's a tight fit here, but it'll be a little bit looser other places. So welcome to the 1860s, 1870s version of a man cave. This is the pub. If you know anything about Irish culture, you do know that this is your community center. This is where you solve
Sarah.
problems. This is where you tell stories. It's where you find lodging and work and all of those things. It's also where musicians and storytellers came to make a living. So one of those stories that we associate with Solid is the myth of Stingy Jack, our ghostly friend here at the end of the bar. So Stingy Jack, that legend is actually how we get jack-o'-lanterns. So it's, as it's known,
Hey, Cynthia.
Jack was a very well-known Irishman in his town for being stingy. He was very fond of his whiskey, but not fond of parting with his coins to pay for said whiskey. So one night, the devil learns about Jack and his trickery and comes to collect Jack's soul. And Jack says, "Oh, devil, I'm an Irishman. I gotta have one last drink. Could you please transfigure yourself into a coin, as I have no coins to pay for said drink so I can have my last drink." So the devil transfigures himself into a coin. Jack quickly takes the coin and pockets it next to a cross in his pocket that had been concealed, thus trapping the devil. And he would not let the devil out until he agreed to not come for Jack's soul for 10 years. So 10 years go by and Jack is sitting under an apple tree. And up pops the devil. "Okay, Jack, you've had your 10 years. It's time to go." And Jack goes, "Oh, but devil, I'm so hungry. Would you deny a dying man his last meal?" And the devil goes, "No, you can have your last meal. There's an apple tree. Climb up and get yourself one." Jack goes, "Oh, but I've got a bad back. I can't be climbing these apple trees." So the devil says, "Okay, fine. I'll go get you your apple so we can be on our way." So as he's climbing up to get said apple, Jack quickly carves a cross in the tree, thus trapping the devil again. So he pleads with Jack, "Jack, we got to stop playing around. It's time to go." And Jack says, "Okay, I'll let you out of the apple tree if you promise never to take my soul." So the devil says, "Fine, I'm done with you. I've been through this twice. I'm not doing it again. I'm not taking your soul." So years pass and Jack finally passes away. So he arrives at paradise or the pearly gates, talks to St. Peter and says, "Okay, Peter, I'm ready to go." Peter goes, "I don't know. I know you. You're tricky. You're stingy. And you tricked the devil twice. You're not coming in here." So he's turned away from paradise. Goes to the devil. Says, "Oh, devil, okay. I've had my time on earth. I'm ready to go." Devil goes, "Oh, no. I'm a man of my word. You're not getting in here either. I will not take you. However, I'm not as mean as people think I am." So he plucks a coal out of the eternal fire, gives it to Jack. "So you don't wander by yourself in the dark. Here you go. Here's a light to light your way." Jack goes, "Okay, I can't hold on to this coal. This is not going to work." So he hollows out a turnip that he was eating. And thus we get the first jack-o'-lanterns because he pops the coal in the lantern. Can you hit the lights? Yep, just pop it.
Pop it.
Yep. So normally this would be glowing right now, but it's decided it's not going to work. But that's how we get the winner. He becomes Jack of the Lantern or Jack O' Lantern. Originally, these lanterns are actually carved and passed down to children to scare off Jack and his stingy spirit. You can hit the lights again. So now, I kid you not, it does glow. It's just not glowing today. Here.
Oh.
All right, Sharon, get ready to hit the lights again one more time. See, it does glow. I promise it does. But it's just not working for me today. So, I have a picture of it glowing if anybody wants it. So we are about to head down. This is definitely not a church acceptable myth. Everybody okay?
Yeah.
This is definitely not a church acceptable myth. So we are going to go see how the church adopted Samhain. So if you go down to the next floor, please.
I'm saying that telling the devil seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah.
So I actually have on my desk are some Samhain brochures that have everything we're about to talk about on this tour, except for the dumb supper. And it actually has the full myth of Stingy Jack. I took liberties because it's one of my favorite stories. So
Storytellers allowed to take liberties.
Yep.
Creativity is called. Ooh, spooky, spooky. FYI, we are at the Irish American Museum, newly renamed, used to be the Irish Railroad Workers Museum, but now it's expanding. It's going to include more than railroad.
Okay, so the pub, that's where you do your storytelling. But the church, that's really the heart of the community. So with Samhain, Samhain is technically considered a Celtic or pagan festival. It's not really church approved, just because of some of the stories that go with it and some of the practices, like what we'll talk about in that area, which is bonfire or bonfires. And of course, Jack, that's not a really great tale to be telling your kids. Not really a parable, it's not really a moral, all of those things. But the Catholic Church, when they got to Ireland, decided, okay, we can't just forcibly convert these people. We have to give them something. Well, the Irish, and the Scottish for that matter, really clung to Samhain. It's a very important holiday in the Celtic calendar because it is the Celtic New Year. It's also the end of harvest festival. That is what you work towards all year. And it also happens to be the midpoint between winter and summer, and the time of year that's thought where the veil between the worlds is the thickest. So it has multiple meanings to the Irish. They very much cherish this holiday. So the Catholic Church looks at it and says, wait a minute, there's parts of this that we can actually use to our advantage, that fit our teachings, and we can kind of convert people that way. So they end up adopting parts of Samhain. Now, Samhain normally takes place October 31st through November 2nd. And that's all Samhain Eve, which is now All Hallows Eve under the new church. Then you have the newly invented holiday of All Saints Day under the Catholic Church. And then the last day of Samhain is typically your day of remembrance. That is a huge part of the Samhain tradition. You are remembering your loved ones. You are making sure that you honor your ancestors and those that have passed on. That becomes All Souls Day. Now, in the Catholic Church, how many people have been in a Catholic Church before? Okay, so you know, off to the corner of one of the altars, you have those votives that you light a candle for somebody you love. That is taken from Samhain. You light candles to remember your loved one. That is why we have all those. So in the corner, we do have a candle lit there for James and Sarah. Now, workplace. When we talk about the Irish, we don't talk about in America how much we're farmers. This is very much an agricultural holiday. It's when you bring the harvest in. It's when you count your cattle and bring them in. So much so that once you bring the cattle herds in, you light these huge bonfires up on the hill to scare spirits away and keep them away from your cattle and your village. That word, bonfire, comes from the term bonefire. And that is thought to be from the butchering or slaughtering of your animals to prep for winter. They would use the bones to scare off the spirits. So that is how we get that connection. Now here in America, when you think about the Irish, you think railroad worker, you think miner, you think steel worker, domestics, washerwomen, those types of things. You don't really think about the agricultural practice. there were so many Irish farmers in America. They were actually here in the breadbasket of Maryland doing farming. They were doing farming in DC before it was a city. So this is definitely something that was celebrated here in America, and the bonfires actually got a little bit out of control towards the beginning of the 19th century. This is when we start to see the mischief and mayhem starting that's now associated with what we think of the night of mischief or mayhem that is All Hallows Eve. But you also lit fires for your loved ones to light their way home. So as we think about remembrance and that side of Samhain, we're going to also talk about getting ready for feasting and celebrating as we go to the Feely family house.
Okay, we're going next door. This is a series of museums here.
Okay, comes with it.
Hey, I got it. Oh, yeah, I'm going to see expressions when people come in.
I was gonna say we changed it this year.
I see. Very
I was
nice.
gonna say we change it every year, but we've changed it this year.
Get back here.
And feel free to sit in any seat. Yeah. Just be careful. The one right here is a rocker.
As a matter of fact, yeah.
I also wrote it as an actual script.
Did you? Good, good, good.
We're gonna change it a little bit.
Okay, cool.
Because I knows it.
Oh, yeah, well, I'll pass it on. No, yeah, I'll take it.
All right.
Mm.
So, welcome to the Feely family home. Now, the Feely family did live in this house for 20 years. They moved in 1864, and in 1884, they ended up buying this house and a bigger house over on Arlington Street. This became a rental property for them. We do actually have those records on the mantelpiece as well. And like I said, at the end of the tour, you can go gangbusters and go through the museum. But right now, as you walked in the Feely house, it is not normally set up like this. The entire month of October, we actually set up our temporary exhibit called A 19th Century Wake in honor of young William Feely. He actually lived in this house. He was born in this house and passed away in this house. In 3 weeks, we will actually be having his wake here at the museum. It's one of our best programs. It's one of the most anticipated programs. I get people asking me in January when it's going to be. So it is also, it's indecent how much fun we have. It is a huge, huge party. As part of this, you will actually go further in depth than what just the exhibit has on display. You'll actually get to play wake games in our backyard. We do feed you wake food, and we go up to St. Peter's Cemetery as part of that event at the end and do a remembrance up there for all of the Irish immigrants. We actually lay flowers at the Irish immigrant marker up there. So if you're here in 3 weeks, highly recommend it. We do also live stream it, so it is available virtually. You just won't get the food, and that's the food is wonderful. So, with the wake, why we talk about it during Samhain is this is the epitome of honoring your loved ones. Wakes in Irish culture, if who's ever been to a wake, first off. All right, so you guys know, huge party depending on who's been passed away.
Mhm.
That's why it's so indecent. We have so much fun. It's a child. Those are usually a little bit mournful. It's a party here. William actually would have been 155 this year, so he's had his time. But with wakes, you definitely are playing games to stay awake. You have to sit up with the body for 48 to 72 hours to make sure the person has actually passed on. In addition to that, if you look at this picture over here, you can actually see them playing cards at the table. You can see a young boy who doesn't have shoes stealing the shoes from the dead person, because that was typical. You would buy a pair of shoes or a new pair of shoes for your deceased loved one, and so it was common so that the living would take the shoes and go on their merry way. You also see keeners. Keeners are something very unique to Irish funerals. This was a practice where they would yell and scream and cry at the body to make sure the person had passed on and scared spirits away. Now, our board president is who runs the wake event. Will do a much better job of explaining this than I will. She is fantastic. She's actually Baltimore, the wake expert for Baltimore, as coined in one of the books. If you have a chance, I highly recommend coming back to our program. It will be so much more in depth than what we talk about here. But what is important to Samhain are all the candles. The candles light your way to the afterlife. They light your way back on Samhain to come and spend time with your family. Now, as we move into the kitchen, no, step on the stairs. So as we move into the kitchen, you'll notice that here we have an empty place setting at the table. Now, this is where we talk about the dumb supper. Who has ever been to a dumb supper? Oh, wow, I'm the only one.
I don't know. What is it?
So the dumb supper is typically where you leave an empty place at the table. You honor your loved one, whoever you're wishing to invite back into your home that year, with their picture on the table. This year, we are honoring young Joanna Feely, who also passed away of the Feely family after she had her child. So we're honoring her at the table. The little ghosty there, we've nicknamed Joe. So here you invite them back to your table. Oftentimes, the entire supper is served backwards. You start with dessert and work your way towards appetizers. My mom's favorite part of dumb supper right there. In addition to that, the food is different. You'll notice we have barmbrack, we have soul cakes. The fruits are apples, pears, grapes, very much fall coated fruits. You would also have Irish or shepherd's pie, but I can't really put shepherd's pie on those plates. So typically you would have that, or Irish stew. That's the time of year for this. Colcannon would also be served. We are serving Irish stew and Colcannon every week. So that's why you would have that. The entire dinner is eaten in silence because that is in honor of the people who can't speak, but your loved ones are coming back to communion with you, but they can't talk to you. So you eat the entire supper in silence. You honor them with typical foods, and of course, candles to light them, candles to honor them. And then on top of that, your entire house would be cleaned top to bottom to welcome them back into the home. You'll notice we have St. Bridget's cross above this doorway right here. We have St. Bridget's cross there. That is normally a sign of protection in an Irish home during Samhain. It's a sign of welcoming, coming back to the hearth. So this is where most of the activity will happen during Samhain. However, this is somewhat still public celebrations. We're going to go see the private celebrations. Barmbrack or Baronbrack. This is Barmbrack right here. It is a tea loaf cake, and it has fortune telling properties. Thank you for reminding me, because I have. So that's actually my favorite part. That's actually my connection to my grandmother. Like every year I bake it, and it's like, grandma's here. Okay. So Barmbrack is a tea loaf. You take dried fruits. Typically it's sultanas or currants. If you're doing traditional 1800s, our recipe has a little bit different stuff in it. It's actually missing a couple fruits this year because I couldn't source them, but you just take whatever dried fruit you like. And then also in Barmbrack, you soak the fruit in tea overnight and you make your little tea loaf. It's more of a cake than bread. And in that, you would also bake a coin or a ring, in some places a pea and a piece of cloth, and these are all tokens. Whoever gets the coin is promised prosperity for the next year, and they have to host the next Samhain feast. Whoever finds the ring is going to find their true love and their betrothed for the next year. Whoever finds the cloth is promised a life of poverty the next year. Whoever finds the pea is promised a bountiful harvest. So there are, it honestly depends on what part of Ireland. My family's from Galway. We did all four of those. So we did that. I do not bake the charms in the Barmbrack. Do not worry. You're not going to swallow something. It's a very huge safety hazard. I am working on actually getting a local Barmbrack that has a cutaway that shows all of those things. But that is typical of this time of year. It's a fortune telling thing. The soul cakes, we will talk about on the third floor. But in the vein of fortune telling, also to get up the stairs. These are from 1848. They are original time period, but not to the house. To navigate them without trouble, stay on the outside edge of the step and rotate with the steps. Please use this rope if you need to. And do not watch me. I do this every weekend. I will fly up these steps.
There you go.
And she's gone.
You want to stay down here?
Stay down here.
Yeah.
Let's just stay down here.
Stay down.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
And laundry? And pregnant? That's why I say, do not watch me. I will find out because I do it every weekend.
Hard not to fall out of this one.
Oh, yeah, you got the ship turned in right into your back. There you go. Thank you. Is that everybody who's coming up?
Yeah.
Okay, so this actually would have been the girls' room. We had transitioned it into a room dedicated to the passage from Ireland. We were getting a lot of people commenting that these immigrants came over on ships like the Titanic.
Mm-hmm.
And while the Titanic is Irish built and English sunk, it is 100 years past what we are talking about. So these ships were actually wooden sailing ships like the Margaret Hug in the middle of the wall there. That is actually the ship that James and his sister Kath came over on in 1847. And these were not good ships. They were brought out of retirement. They were not seaworthy. They were actually cargo ships. So what you're seeing here is a cargo shelf that if you were lucky, they would unload the cargo, give you a straw mat, and load you on top of the shelf. That was not the case in most ships. If you're talking about a unicorn ship, which was an uncrowded ship, mom and dad of a family of 5 in the top bunk, all 3 kids in the bottom bunk. If you were talking about a crowded ship, which was much more the norm, that bottom picture there, that's what you're really dealing with. In addition to that, there's no public bathroom. People are just letting things go wherever. Thievery runs rampant. Your entire world, your family's entire world fits in a trunk about that size. It's not private property. In addition to this, the travel could take anywhere from 2 months to a year, depending on what the ship was doing, what the captain was hauling. They were told to pack 2 months worth of food. They can't afford food. So captains were told to provide 3 liters of water and a pound of flour. It's on the second shelf there, rationed out. Per adult immigrant, that sounds good. It's not good. Water was kept in whiskey barrels that had held things like vinegar and turpentine and hadn't been washed. So it made the water completely undrinkable. Flour was kept in canvas sacks like the one in the corner there, made it a prime target for Louis and his vermin friends. Oh yeah, Children's Day, they get to rename their, it's Louis, right? So the parasites on Louis would get into the flour. There are accounts of them cooking weevils. This is the only protein out of their flour. There's accounts of them getting sick from not boiling their water. While this is all going on, you also have to abide by the Passenger Act of 1848, which is an extremely restrictive set of rules. It literally dictates how you can breathe on the ship. It's that restrictive. In addition to this, every captain has their own set of rules. If you violate either, you can get conscripted into service, tossed in the brig, or just tossed overboard. As a result, we lose about 1,000 or 1 million Irish in the passage over, and we lose about 1 million more in Ireland. So during all of this, you're hearing stories about what the new country is like. You're trying to get your mind off of things. You're playing fortune telling games. If it's this time of year, they would bob for apples on these ships. Now we have apple bobbing as a harvest activity. That's a fortune telling thing. You would pick the apple of your betrothed, or you would see their spirit while you were bobbing for apples. Basically, you're suffocating yourself while you're trying to bob for apples. In addition to that, you would hear stories of the new version of the turnip. This is what you had in Ireland. Pumpkins did not grow in Ireland. But while you were on the ships, you hear about pumpkins. So the new jack-o'-lantern, and you'll notice whoever carved turnips in the house next door, they're softer than pumpkins, but they're much tinier. So this is a huge improvement. So as we're talking about this, these are still family celebrations on these ships. They're still private. But when we're talking about the house, if you guys want to head into James and Sarah's room. So we talk about it being a very personal celebration. When you talk about parents who have lost a child or lost a loved one, what's on the mantelpiece lit by a candle? Those would be Williams marbles.
Oh,
William has
Okay.
just passed. We're honoring William by keeping his prized possessions or a toy that he loved very much close, lighting a candle for him in the room. This is also where James and Sarah see each other. It's the only place they have conversations about what's happening, how to plan a funeral, whether or not they have the money for Joanna's second dowry. Those conversations happen here. So when they're trying to remember their loved ones, this is where they would do it, in the privacy of their bedroom. And when this house was built, the houses across the street did not exist. So they're doing this with all of the loud noise and cacophony from the B&O. Can you imagine trying to hold a remembrance for one of your loved ones when all you hear is the pounding of the B&O? So it's a very trying time when you try and do this with that going on. But this solemn celebration does come to an abrupt end when we hit the 19th century, and we're going to go talk about that upstairs. But before we go upstairs, the ceiling is extremely low. There is a beam running down the center of it. I will hold my arm so you can see where the beam is. Just try to go to the left-hand side.
Was that always there?
Yeah, that's why I was telling people to go to the left-hand side.
Right.
Wait, this is new.
It's not-
No, it was here.
Be careful, watch your head, there's like nails.
Oh, I have people tell me all the time, like, watch your head, don't fall, because I stand like literally.
our house is 80s,
I
or 40s, and I stick my head in the nails all the
I
time.
literally.
Yeah, see, I would be more worried about the nails than the beam there.
I normally stand right here. I mean, Sharon can attest to this. I
Yeah.
stand exactly right here. So everybody's like, "You're gonna fall down the stairs." Even if I tried, my head. It's,
Yeah.
like, I'm good.
She'd knock herself out first.
Well, I have to continually come up here and clean the paint because I have to hold my hand here so people know that there's a beam there. So welcome to the boarders and the boys' room. Through the doorway, you'll actually see it set up for boarders. Sarah did have two boarders in this. Well, she think two boarders in this house prior to her having, depending on family lore, child number 4 or child number 5. Then that's when she says, okay, that's not boarders have to go. But boarders during this time of year would have been taken in as family if they weren't family already. Typically, a boarder would have been, for a married woman, a single male relative, for a widowed woman, a single female relative. So they were already family, but they were invited to honor their loved ones as well. And so the family would kind of adopt all of these ghosts and welcome them back in. Now, in the kids' room, you'll notice young James Jr. there has his Halloween costume on. Now, during the 1870s, that is when we start to see Halloween as we know it today emerge. It becomes the night of mischief. Those bonfires get out of control. We have cow tipping. We have barns set on fire. The Catholic Church really does try to put a stop to all of the mischief. But that's when we see Halloween costumes develop. If you ever get an inkling for some really creepy photos, please go Google Victorian Halloween costume. It's the best thing ever. There is an actual picture of somebody with a paper mask that looks almost identical to that. It's so creepy. We are working on getting a better, accurately one. I literally had to make that on the fly this morning. But they are so creepy. It's blank-faced ghosts that have like a pillowcase tucked into their shirt. It's very creepy because Halloween costumes, when they started, were definitely made to scare away spirits. They were not the cutesy Barbie, ballerina, or Iron Man, or what. That's not what it had. What happened? In addition to that, that's where souling comes in. Those soul cakes that we saw downstairs, those were made for the poor kids. Originally, souling was made for the less fortunate children, so they could go house to house, perform a trick, a poem, or song, and get a soul cake for their efforts so they could have some food in their belly. That has now transitioned into trick-or-treating. They would go and perform mostly tricks, which became the pranks of Halloween, like TPing somebody's house. Those are where we get those traditions. So here in America, we would not have that if the Irish and Scottish had not stuck to their guns and kept some semblance of who they were as a people, what their culture was. And this was at a time when the US was flat out telling these people, you cannot be you. Lose your language. Stop being Irish. Stop being Scottish. We have Scotch Irish, or Scots Irish rather, that would come to this country and not say they were Irish at all. They would say they were Scottish because it would guarantee them a better chance of a job. So all of this is happening while we have No Irish Need to Fly happening. All of this is happening when we have the Irish Bridget cartoons and the Irish Patty stereotypes. These are derogatory slurs. The images were so bad that they started stage shows in New York where they would put on Irish face and demean them. And the men actually got so mad that they stepped in and put a stop to it. But it took the Irish men stepping in to put a stop to it. So, and we have our Irish women to thank for these holidays surviving because they out-immigrated men 3-1. They are the ones who started the migration genes. So we have them to thank for all of this lovely tradition still going on today. All of the food you see, that was women's work. So the fact that we still have those recipes even today is amazing. That is the end of our tour. Like I said, you have free reign to go through both houses. There are lots of little things. Please feel free to touch, interact, take pictures. We are a very unique museum that we are a working class house museum where almost nothing is behind glass. We do have a couple things. So this is why we do that. So you can kind of get a connection with that history. Also, the food next door, please eat some of the food. Please carve a turnip, paint a turnip. And if you need a break from the hot air, the garden is also available. So to get down, put your back against the wall, your hand on the center post, and walk yourself.
Slide on down.
Thank you.
And if you have any
Very
questions,
good.
please let me know. There is a pamphlet, little brochure, trifle thing that I made up that has all the other traditions next door.
Great, thanks.
Awesome. Whoops.
Please don't trip.
Check out the Scary Kid. Yes, Sarah, I was here before. I've done a couple of tours here. I've done the wake that she was talking about. That's probably when you were here. Isn't that mannequin pretty? A cute little girl. Mm.
It's like, what? We got a suitcase just like that.
This was the kids would have been the kids' room. They've got a trundle bed under there. Pulls out, add more kids. And this room would have been the boarders' room. And they work shifts over at the Railroad Museum. So these two beds were maybe rented twice. During the day somebody slept and at night somebody slept. So, and it kind of helped the homeowners, the families, and it helped the guys that came over here trying to make a better world, better living. So, these upper floors, this is like the third floor, and in the older homes, you can tell the older homes by the third floor because the windows are not full size. They're shorter than the windows on the first and the second floors. So that's I'm going to go on downstairs here and show you the front of the building, well, the yard, and then the front of the buildings. Well, I'm at it, right? Boom. Okay.
Well, those stairs are from 1848, so
Yeah.
Okay, and here is the poor William, sweet William.
So yeah, Sharon, when you come back from the week this year,
Yeah,
it's all Cecilia's this year. I'm not doing any part.
really?
Mhm.
Oh, cool. Well, that's good. She's doing the whole thing, huh? Well, what's her thing? Because she got the coffin together
it's
too,
different.
right?
Well, so before I came on, we never talked about Solomon.
Okay.
And so it honestly was always a perfect fit to do it with the weight
Yeah.
until we had moved the weight to November. So, and I was like, we can't let October pass.
No, and this is better anyway because you get two events instead of one. You know?
We had somebody today buy 3 blooms.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, we
Yeah.
have at least 3 flowers that we'll have.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
But yeah, we've actually changed. She just found a picture.
Yeah, I see.
Well,
That's
no,
new.
it's not even on display. That's new.
Yeah.
But she also found a picture of the Feelies home in Ireland.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. What did it look like?
I
Was
have it
it?
next door. I can show you.
Oh,
It's going on display at the lake, so I'm not like.
yeah. I'm gonna walk down to the mural with this. I'll be right back.
Yep. We're actually we're trying, Patrick Carnett just gave us a list of muralists. We're going to get the name changed on it.
Really?
And one of the girls is missing a leg, so she's going to get a leg in that.
Okay. These houses are part of the Irish American Museum. They've just purchased 2 more. So they have all the way down to here. So they have the first one that you were in, that's like the introduction. The second one is the Feeney's house. The third one here, 916, is going to be resources for genealogy research. There's a lot of information available. Oh, look at this. This Halloween house looks pretty cool, huh? Wow. Quite nice. Quite nice. This mural was painted by an Irish immigrant, actually. And it's for our museum. It says the Irish Railroad Workers Museum. They're going to have the sign, the name changed because the museum changed. It's now the Irish American Museum. With genealogy and everything else, the museum's been researching other areas beyond the railroad. So hence the name change to make it more inclusive, I suppose. So here are the houses, right? Now on the tour, Sammy said that the houses in front weren't there. So here's the Railroad Museum, and here's the Roundhouse. This is where they worked. This is where they built the first steam engines. They laid the first 13 miles of track in the country, started right there. Right there, went out into the country a bit. Now it's an awesome museum. That Roundhouse is full of locomotives. It's quite a collection of train engines going way back. It's very cool. There are some trains that you can ride in there. They take you for short little ride or what have you. But yeah, it's this area once upon a time, back in the 1860s, it was all railroad workers. They had their own church here, the schools. They had a market, the Holland Street Market. They had, like the picture shows you, they had the guys with the vegetable carts, the fresh produce coming down the street. There's the shipping here in Baltimore. The Irish were welcome as immigrants. The people from the railroad agents would go to Locust Point, where the immigrant terminal was. They go to Locust Point and meet the ships coming in and recruit these young men right off the ships, bring them here to work on the railroad, gave them housing for themselves, their family. They were such a welcome thing. And the railroad was such a big thing. I mean, think about it. The railroad was invented here. It changed the whole country, So, anywho, and then they were all Irish to boot. Go figure. So, guys, let me go over here across the street. We're supposed to be getting a really bad storm coming up here. A nor'easter, they're saying, with some really nasty winds and stuff. So we'll see how that goes, right? Let me turn the camera around here. Uh-oh, that wasn't it. All right, come on here, right there. Ah, there we go. There I am. Okay. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. You know, this museum's been here for quite a while and it's grown and grown and grown. I discovered it, oh God, probably 20 years ago before it was actually open to the public when it was kind of like falling down. In fact, these buildings were scheduled for demolition and one of the neighborhood groups came in and had them declared historical properties so they couldn't take them down. So they saved them, yay. So anyway, well guys, time for me to go. I want to eat some of that food in there. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this and I'll see you next time. I guess next time is probably Wednesday, 12 noon, hump day. So, all right, guys, take care. Be good. See ya.